Good evening. My name is Jeff Rutsky, the Superintendent of Schools. I would like to welcome all of you to a very special ceremony, the Maddalena Early Learning Center dedication. Before I begin the program, I would like to recognize some very special guests this evening. Those guests do not need to stand up, just be recognized. Our Board of Education members, starting with President Sarah Mordecai, Vice President Herb Schwartzbaum, Board members Laura Labb and Mark Robertson. Mr. Charles is on his way. Governor Cody and Mary Jo Cody, Assemblyman John McKeon will be our master ceremony tonight. Bergen County Executive Jim Tedesco, Freeholder Pat Siebold, Town Council President Joe Koyak and his wife Claire, former board member, Town Council member Michelle Castellino, former board member Paul Pettigrew, former board member Kathy Tague and husband Hugh. I do not see Tammy Murphy, but I want to recognize that she is trying to attend this evening. Former Superintendent Jerry Tarnoff and wife Karen. Former Principal of West Orange High School, Artie Almagento. Former Principal of Redwood Elementary School, Barbara Kivlon. And all of the former or current colleagues who are from the West Orange Public Schools. Thank you for being here tonight. I'd also like to welcome Betty's friends and colleagues from the Shore, Seton Hall, and St. Phil's. Welcome and thank you for being part of this very special evening. And lastly, and definitely most importantly, the Maddalena family. I'd like to just call your name. I would like you to stand if you're comfortable doing that, to be recognized. Brother Louis J. and wife Joan. Nephew Louis T. and wife Marissa. Nephew Matthew and partner Dalton. There are several seats that are up front in the first row, and two of them are very specialist for us tonight. They are for Mom and Dad. They were unable to attend this evening, but we have a seat for them. They're here with us, certainly in part in spirit. On behalf of the West Orange Public Schools, we are honored that you can be part of Betty's dedication tonight. Thank you for being here. Well, I never knew Betty. In this last month to 2 months, I've heard so many things about Betty. I'm so sorry I didn't get a chance to meet Betty. Things such as compassion, caring, love for life, love for kids, helping others. All those that knew Betty know that's exactly who she was. I'm not going to stand here and talk like I didn't know her. There's plenty of people who are going to follow me who are going to talk about Betty, and I think they're going to enjoy what they have to say. But it is very touching that the Board of Education has decided to dedicate the Early Learning Center to Betty based on all those qualities. And when we think of what we're dealing with in society today, yesterday, last week, think about the impact Betty and the characteristics that Betty would have on all of us. So those of us that didn't have the chance to meet her, think about those characteristics and what that could do for us to do to others. Betty, it is an honor to your dedication this evening. This is an absolute honor as superintendent, and I can speak for everybody in this room. We are glad that you're with us this evening. Now, I'd like to turn it over to our Masters of Ceremony, John McKeon, to move on our program. Thank you.
Thank you all, and welcome to everyone. When I was kidding around with my good friend Governor Cody a few moments ago, he says, isn't it nice to be among educators and administrators who in a few short weeks will no longer be public enemy number one. So we can all look forward to turning the page, if you will. And if Tammy Murphy gets here, just make sure you all tell her, we need money, we need money. You know, Jeff, I just want to note, I know that it's always a challenge to be a superintendent of any school district, and particularly one as complex as West Orange. And I appreciate from the outside, as we all do, the professional work that you do. But I have to tell you, the thing that I most appreciate, you know why you're really up to any task, is having recently seen you at the Bajwani Foundation. You've got a 7-year-old son, and a 5-year-old, and a 4-year-old, 2 daughters. So if you're able to manage the 3 of them as capably as you did on your own that day, I know that better times and good times continue to be ahead. Let's hear from Mr. Rutsky. As I look into the crowd and obviously see many friends, there's one in particular that will always hold the greatest of esteem in this community in all of our hearts, and that's our former superintendent, Jerry Tarnoff. So, Jerry, you know, through the years that we've been at a variety of different retirement dinners, our own retirement, my favorite movie, and I think hopefully some of you might think the same, is Mr. Holland's Opus. And if you don't know it, just the premise of a gentleman that has dreams of maybe being the next John Lennon and decides, well, I need to teach, and then all of a sudden life takes over. And after a 40-year career, he sits back to think of, you know, what it was that he really did with his life, and then I can come to tears just thinking about what that's like, as all of the teachers and administrators and students who he touched all come to one place. So with that in mind, although we're sad that Miss Matt isn't here to see her opus, we know she's looking down and her family is here to witness it, because tonight is indeed Miss Matt's opus. So with that, I'm going to ask that our first speaker really to bring greetings on behalf of our very dedicated Board of Education, and herself is just a very thoughtful and dedicated individual, and I also love her for a lot of reasons, but she's really a great mom. So with no further ado, can I please ask our Board President, Sandra Mordecai, to come and give a few remarks.
Thank you, Assemblyman McKeon. Good evening, everyone. Distinguished guests, administration, faculty, Board of Education members, family, and friends of Betty. Thank you all for coming tonight. My name is Sandra Mordecai, and I'm the president of the West Orange Board of Education. I am both humbled and pleased to be a part of this program, and on such an auspicious occasion, to honor Betty and open a new preschool. A little backstory on how we came to this point. This current board and boards in the past have discussed various solutions to the school district's facilities overcrowding issues at all of our 11 schools. Over the summer, we finalized our agreement with the Life Christian Church and was able to move our preschool program from Kelly Elementary School to this beautiful space, which you will tour after the program. We have trailers at 3 different schools in our district, but since we've opened the school, we've been able to repurpose them. We began our preschool year on September 6, 2017, and was very pleased to welcome many new and returning preschool families. During my term and other configurations of this board, we looked at space on Harrison Avenue, Main Street, Pleasant Cove John, formerly known as St. Joe's, Suburban Hills, and many other locations. The spaces we previously looked at involved many costly renovations, As is our fiduciary responsibility, we are always looking to find balance of providing resources for our students and lessening the burden on taxpayers. We are very proud to have found this most cost-effective solution and such a state-of-the-art facility. Only the best for our students. Once we had the necessary approvals of the county and state, we were able to move forward. Mrs. Lab came up with the great suggestion to name the new preschool after Betty, and the board voted unanimously to do so. This school is critical to the success of our very special little ones and builds the foundation upon which they will need an elementary school and the upper grades, and will chart a course of success for them moving forward. This is Betty's dream come true. Elizabeth Betty Maddalena, or Miss Mad, as so many students called her, gave so much of herself every day to our students, all of our students. Betty was an educator for over 30 years. We were very fortunate that she came to West Orange in 1985 after many years at Aquinas Academy in Livingston. She started here in West Orange at Edison Middle School and began her career as a teacher, advancing to special education coordinator, and later at West Orange High School, supervisor of special services, and then director of special services until her passing in 2011. It was obvious when you met Betty that teaching was a calling for her, and her passion was education and children. She always had a smile on her face and a big hug for students, and of course the many emotional parents during IEP meetings. I know that firsthand, as I'm one of those parents. I always knew my son would be okay, as Betty was always there, a part of the team that would ensure he was provided with the opportunities needed to succeed. Betty strived to make every student better, and she wanted to make sure all students had the life and social skills they needed. And in 2012, when we developed the program at the high school, we named it the Betty Maddalena Life Skills Center. The center is the jewel in our high school program and has provided pre-vocational training for special education students aged 18 to 21, for cognitively impaired and autistic students. Their students receive business training, clerical, and maintenance duties, and learn about food services. It is only fitting during her career that Betty was the first to receive New Jersey's prestigious Educator Medal of Honor, awarded in 2006 from Governor John S. Corzine and the Commissioner of Education, Lucille Davey. Betty was also named West Orange Community House's Educator of the Year. Betty was always a true advocate for all of our children and respected by her peers, and so many of you are here tonight as a testament to that. So many of you call her a friend, and many of you call her family. Her legacy continues to live on through the many donations from the Betty Maddalena Foundation created by her family and friends. Recently, the Stand to Learn desks were donated by the foundation, and the Breakfast Club and Bench was named after Betty. There was also a tree planted on Arbor Day in 2011 by the township. We thank Betty's parents, family, and friends for loaning Betty to us for just a little bit. We are so much better for having known her, and we all aspire to be a little like her every day, selfless, or be a Betty, as we all say. There will be a presentation later, and you'll know exactly what being a Betty means, and I hope more of us will strive to be a Betty. On behalf of the Board of Education, we would like to say it's a proud day and the ultimate honor to name a school after such a dedicated educational professional. We would like to welcome you to our new preschool center, the Betty Maddalena Early Learning Center. Thank you, Ms. Mad, for all your contributions to our students and community.
Sandra said she didn't cry, you just made the rest of us cry. You know, one of the things is, Mayor privilege to be mayor of this community for 12 years. You don't have a direct role, certainly in education, but a lot of parents end up coming to you to talk about it. And my memory, just one of them, about Betty is hearing from parents, like there's a lot of child advocates here, which Betty certainly was. But when I'd speak to certain parents, they'd say, you know what, she makes my kids, my children, want to go to school. And what a pretty amazing thing. One of the next persons to speak is someone that word amazing works very well for. There isn't anybody that I know of more respected in the special education community than the current principal for the last 10 years. I won't call it Pleasantdale Elementary, but the Kelly Elementary School, a lot of which had to do with the principal having us properly bestow that honor. Joanne, the thing that I really was touched by in just getting to know you a little bit better was you were inspired to do what you do by a lot of great teachers, one of whom was your mother. So if you can please join me in welcoming Dr. Joanne Laura.
Good evening. To be successful, there are 4 pillars on which you can build: dedication, devotion, discipline, and determination. Betty Maddalena's 33 years in education embodied each of these qualities. As a teacher beginning at Aquinas Academy in Livingston and arriving in West Orange in 1985, Betty demonstrated qualities that set her on a path destined for leadership. She spent the majority of her time as a teacher working with students with special needs. During her tenure in West Orange, she rose to become the special education coordinator at the high school, the supervisor of special education, grades 9 through 12, and finally, the director of student support services. I was honored to be an invited guest as she received the inaugural Educator Medal of Honor from Governor John Corzine for her work in addressing the achievement gap in our district. I'd like to take this opportunity to talk about Betty Maddalena as an administrator. In Robert Greenleaf's seminal essay on the servant leader, he described servant leadership this way: the servant leader is servant first. It begins with the natural feeling that one wants to serve. Then, with a conscious decision, you decide that you want to lead. So, a servant leader, very simply, is one who's focused on serving others. A servant leader loves people and wants to help them succeed. The mission, then, of a servant leader is to identify and meet the needs of others. Betty's belief in the inherent worth of humanity and her responsibility toward fellow human beings guided her decision-making. She provided a vision of hope, affirmed shared values, appreciated our diverse gifts, celebrated our successes, all while on a path of self-discovery. She and I communicated often regarding her personal aspirations while learning to build a cohesive and quite spirited team. Betty was focused on others, not just herself. She was motivated to make life better for all of us. Betty was committed to the growth of her colleagues, her students, her staff, to stewardship and building community. Betty loved others unconditionally. She worked to remove obstacles so others could rise to meet their professional goals. She valued not only what others could produce, but who they were becoming in the process. Betty understood that leadership was only worthwhile if it's a way of helping others. She understood that stewardship involved partnership and relationships and empowerment rather than a matriarchy. Betty encouraged others to share their gifts for the good of everyone. Jim Collins, in Good to Great, described the highest level in his hierarchy of executive capabilities as level 5. As a level 5 leader, they channeled their egos away from themselves into the larger goal. And that larger goal builds an organization. It's not that Betty lacked ambition. Oh no, she was very ambitious. But her ambition was first and foremost for those she served. Looking back at our much too short time together as a teacher and a school leader, Betty lived by many of Kent Keith's paradoxical commandments. These remind me most of her. The good you do today will be forgotten tomorrow. Do good anyway. People favor underdogs, but follow only top dogs. Fight for a few underdogs anyway. Honesty and frankness make you vulnerable. Be honest and frank anyway. Betty gave the world the best she had every day of her life. For almost 25 years, Betty Maddalena was my colleague and my partner in learning. She was an enthusiastic encourager who cheered for me when I was appointed principal of the now Kelly Elementary School and when I began my doctoral studies. But the greatest gift that Betty gave to me was the honor and the blessing of being able to call her my friend.
That was, I absolutely love it. Now, in a moment, I'm going to ask that a very good friend of Betty's, Patty Van Kallenberg, speak. But I have to say, you know, as good as I look, I'm going to be 60 years old. I know it's hard to believe. And Patty and I went to high school together. We graduated together. And I was reading about it, and she said she's 42 years she's been at Redwood School. I said, we're old, we're not that old. But I guess that goes back to the 6th grade, so what fun that is. Talk about never graduating from the time she attended there, from 6th grade for her career, and then her time for more than 25 years, I guess, as a gym teacher that's beloved. It's really a lot of fun to think about. And I do have the old prom pictures, Patty, of us, so I'm going to hold on to those. And by the way, another thing you probably don't know about Patty, I'm sure you know that she's athletic, but she was the captain of all 3 of the female sports teams when she was a senior, so she was really a great athlete, as well as a really kind and nice person. Now, her, and I hope I'm not stealing her thunder as it relates to her telling the story of meeting Betty, but it happened in 1988 when Betty was swapping into a teacher's bowling league. Imagine or not, this match, she rolled a 232. Patty, competitive as she is, said, come on, come to the team. So she came, Ms. Mad, and she got out that bowling ball next time, and she had a grand total of 81 pins. But nonetheless, a 2-decade friendship that's enduring, and with us to share some of those thoughts is Mad's friend, Patty Van Kallenberg.
Good evening. By the way, I said 82 pins? Are you kidding me? 232 last week, 82 pins? What's going on? She goes, they did not feed me beers. I am so honored to speak tonight about a woman who meant the world to me, my best friend, Betty. As you've heard tonight, Betty's passion was education, especially for her special needs students. She has so many things named after her, or in honor of her, as you heard tonight. But nothing could make Betty smile more than the pizza named after her at Porta in Asbury Park. The Betty Pie. She loved to eat. All kidding aside, what greater honor can an educator receive than to have a school named after them? Think about the school names in our district: Washington, Roosevelt, Edison, and now Maddalena. What an elite group to be associated with. It is no coincidence that Betty's school is housed in a church. Besides education, religion was right up there in importance to her. Speaking of important, it is my distinct honor to introduce Betty's family, who you already met. And you guys meant the world to her, and I don't think I'm going to introduce you again. But Betty's parents are Betty and Lou, and they could not attend this evening, but send their gratitude for this amazing honor. But years and years ago, Betty told us a story that when her family sent a Christmas card, it would read like this: Merry Christmas and Happy New Year. Love, Lou, Betty, Betty Lou, and Louis. Did you ever hear such a thing? Betty always said that friends are the family we choose for ourselves, and members of Betty's gigantic family of friends are here as well tonight, and I thank you. Betty had another passion. That was having a great time. She would light up a room as soon as she entered it with her amazing smile and sense of humor. I describe Betty as someone you could have met for 3 seconds, and you felt like you were her best friend. She made everyone feel so special and important. Now, when she wasn't making us all feel really important and number one, she was making us laugh very hard. I would like to take this opportunity to share some of these stories. She used to love to tell us and others that she beat Jesus' record. She lived at home with her parents until age 32. When Betty was working at the high school, she was walking around and she spotted a teacher reading the Bible during her prep. So she shouted, "He dies at the end." A kid in high school said, "I'm going to kill your mother." Betty wrote down her mom's name and address and handed it to him and said, "Thank you." In high school, a student was in her face, and this student was so angry and yelling very close to Betty's face, and she said, "Are you trying to make out with me?" And one time in high school, she wanted the radio turned down. So she very politely said, "Please turn down the volume." And nothing happened. She said, "Excuse me, I would like that volume turned down, please." Nothing. Like 3 or 4 times, very politely, she asked this. She goes over, she takes the radio, she walks over to the window, and she drops it out the window. She was on the 4th floor. The kids go, "Miss Matt, that was your radio." She didn't care. There are so many other funny stories to share, but that's for another time. You can only imagine what Betty would have accomplished if she had more time on this planet. Let Betty lead by example. Let's carry on her amazing legacy by making a difference daily. When Betty passed, I was helping sort through her personal things and was fortunate enough to find a handwritten mission statement in Betty's own words. I will now read Betty's mission statement, which should comfort and guide us tonight. It is my mission to make a difference in the lives of all. It is my mission to be the vehicle to success for all students and teachers. To mentor other professionals so that my passion for teaching will be contagious. It is my mission to create lifelong learners in personal and professional growth. To be a problem solver, peacemaker, and motivator to everyone I encounter. It is my mission to be a person of integrity under all circumstances. To recognize my fate and destiny is a result of my character. To walk a mile in someone's shoes before I pass judgment. It is my mission to wake up every day to serve my colleagues, friends, family, and most of all children to my utmost capabilities. And it is my mission to understand God places me in situations as His representative to make the world a better place for all people. The Betty Maddalena Foundation is thrilled to gift these beautiful words to the Betty Maddalena Early Learning Center. Everyone that enters the school will see this amazing framed masterpiece hanging on the wall. With your help, we can also make a positive difference to ensure that Betty's mission and legacy stay alive. Please donate tonight so that we can allow Betty's little ones to not only work hard here at school, but to play hard on their brand new, amazing playground equipment. On your way out this evening, you'll see a table set up to accept your donations. If tonight doesn't work, you could take an addressed envelope and mail in your donation. The Betty Maddalena Foundation is a 501c3 nonprofit organization. In closing, we would like to thank you for coming this evening from the bottom of our hearts to celebrate such a remarkable woman. Betty would want us all to make a difference and to be a Betty. Paraphrasing a famous quote from the Broadway show Wicked, Betty, because we knew you, all of our lives have been changed for good. Happy birthday, Bet. Thank you.
Patty, you use the term remarkable woman, and all I'll say, it takes one to know one. So thank you for those beautiful words. And speaking of remarkable people, a lot of folks in this room have given many, many years of service to our great community. But the one I'm about to call up has been serving this community for the past 25 years. Give or take 24 years ago, she and Cynthia Bailey founded PASS, which, as you all know, is a very important and precedent-setting advocacy group for the things that many of us in this room care about. And with that, Laura Lab wasn't finished in her service. She decided to, God knows why anybody would do it, to run for Board of Ed. And for the last 10 years, be front and center, long after her two beautiful boys graduated out of our system, but doing it because of her sense of justice, advocacy, and for doing things that are right. I know how close you are with Ms. Madd relative to what was in your heart. So with no further ado, someone I greatly admire, and we all should, Laura Lab.
everyone. They say turn to the file, it says Laura. Okay. So nice to see so many here tonight. Betty has a lot of friends. And what a beautiful home we have found for our littlest learners, as they are called, our preschoolers. Thank you, Pastor Smith, for opening your doors and welcoming our students. You know, a couple of months ago, I was speaking with Mr. Rutsky, and by that time, we were definitely going to go ahead with this initiative for our preschool, and he said, you know, we're going to need a name for the school. And I looked at him for about 2 seconds, and I said, we're going to name it after Betty. Jeff did not know Betty, as he said, but he had heard stories throughout the years, and he just smiled and he said, absolutely. My colleagues on the board unanimously and immediately agreed. You know, sometimes in life, you just come across folks who lead and light up a room, and that person was Betty. Whether it was her friends from the shore, St. Philomena's, West Orange, or Livingston, she was the heart and soul of so many clusters of friends. And that was all part of her magic. We join today to celebrate her life and ensure that Betty's initiatives, passion, presence, and her spirit are part of the future. In education, many times, the saying, sometimes it almost becomes cliche. It's all about the kids. It's all about the kids. But for Betty, it was no cliche. It was a huge part of who she was. She truly lived, breathed, and most importantly, believed it. She talked the talk and she walked the walk. But what you saw was what you got, 100%, and there was not much of a filter on our friend Betty, you know? I first met Betty at an IEP meeting back in 1998, and it was the beginning of an excellent professional relationship, but also the beginning of a personal friendship that we both enjoyed for well over a decade. I can still see her now, walking down the hallway, usually with a smile on her face, always a pencil behind her ear, and her BlackBerry in her pocket, starting off the conversation with a quick joke. If you were to ask me to name 2 traits that I most remember about Betty, one was that she truly cared about the students, and her passion was genuine. She was an advocate through and through. The other thing that sticks out in my mind is, boy, did she like to have fun, and what a sense of humor. When she told me she had introduced herself as Patty's parole officer to someone on the beach one day, I nearly fell over. Right? Okay. All right. Quick show of hands. Who hit the landmark with Betty? All right. We're there. I think the most relaxed I ever saw Betty was just hanging out at the landmark with a picture and a couple of pies at the round table in the corner, telling silly stories and stupid jokes. I think we have all tried to hold on to a little bit of Betty. Some have pictures in their offices of Betty, others have posted pictures on Facebook and shared memories. I still have her as a contact in my phone, so when I'm scrolling down the feeds, I get a hello from Betty. Betty is still giving with a little help from her friends. The Betty Maddalena Foundation has been established and continues to thrive, honor, and remember her. The Board of Education is so grateful for all provided to date and welcomes a partnership with the foundation to raise funds for a playground for our 3 to 5-year-old students. 2 special parents, Ann Ali Ahmed and Christy Gray, along with a very dedicated group of volunteers, have taken their grief and channeled it very quickly into something extraordinary and productive. They raised $30,000, and that was the establishment of the Betty Maddalena Life Skills Center at the high school. Today is a day to smile and celebrate Betty, and to also remember, honor, and support our dear friend's passion. Betty was a true advocate for special needs students, and her legacy to our students will continue for years to come with guidance and expertise from this fantastic group of educators who will help to guide some of our most fragile students from their very first steps at the Betty Maddalena Early Learning Center. By the dedication of this facility today, we will ensure that Betty will continue to touch many lives in the future, in addition to the many lives she has already impacted. With that, I'd like to share now a video created by Marty Kale that was made shortly after her passing with remembrances by some of her colleagues. Get the tissues. Thank you.
People come into our lives. funny that she's sort of a verb in her own way. To be a Betty is to find something good in everybody.
If we let them, and we help them in return, well, I don't know if I believe that's true, but I know I'm who I am today because I knew you. Like a comet pulled from orbit as it passes a sun.
We need to write a book entitled How to Be a Betty for children and adults in the world so that they can live life selflessly, humorously, and joyously, as she did.
For the better, because I knew you. I have been changed for good.
Being a Betty, to me, means that decisions should reflect a thoughtful balance between empathy and personal integrity. Laughter should ricochet from your head to your toes, and kindness should be as instinctive as breathing.
What I learned from you, you'll be with me like I have.
To be a Betty, to make a difference daily. And I use that every day now as I make morning announcements. But Betty always told or showed and demonstrated to me that you always find the best in each person that you meet, because each of us has talents and treasures to share.
Right away, no fuss, whatever way our stories end. You know you have rewritten mine by being my friend.
We have all heard the expression, to be a Betty. You know what that means to me? It means to me that I have to learn how to bring humor into someone else's life the way Betty did.
Who can say if I've been changed for the better? Because I knew you. Because I knew you. I have been changed for good.
What does be a Betty mean to me? It means kindness. Betty was a very kind person. Sensitivity. She was sensitive to the needs of all her students and all the people that she came in contact with.
What I learned from you, you'll be with me.
She selflessly gave to the children of this district through her church, to community members, and lived her life with how can I help others.
You have rewritten mine by being my friend, like a ship.
Betty Maddalena was a supreme individual with a heart of gold. When she walked into the room, everyone smiled.
Who can say if I've been changed for the better? Because I knew you. Because I knew you. I have been changed. Like a ship blown from its moorings by a wind of the sea. Like a sea drowned by a sky.
She was a good friend and a confidant to many people.
I've never been touched in such a positive manner by any other person in my life.
Because I knew you. Because I knew you. I have been changed for good. Just to
She loved to laugh and she loved to make people laugh. She was a people person.
see drowned by a skybird, a distant word. Who can say if I've been changed for the better? Because I knew you. Because I knew you. I have been
think the most important thing she added to our lives on the 4th floor was humor. And when we remember Betty, we always end up laughing because the stories are filled with some sort of Betty humor, always.
If I've been changed for the better, because I knew you, because I knew you.
When I started working here in the Special Services Department at the high school, I was introduced to many people, and each one would ask, "Have you met Betty yet?" At that point, I hadn't met her and was wondering about this Betty person. Until one day, the call came. She was down the shore where she normally spends her summer months. And the call went like this. "Hello, I'm Betty. I heard you're the new secretary." I said, "Yes." And she stated that the secretary's birthday is March 6th and that she doesn't do well with change, so that I would have to just understand. And since that day, I celebrated my birthday on March 6th.
I'd like to remember Betty Maddalena with a joyous heart, and I often find myself laughing out loud at the joy and humor she brought to so many people's lives.
Feel the sky within my reach, and I always will remember all the strength you gave to me. Your love made me make.
She made me believe that there was good in everyone.
You were right there for me. In my dreams I always see.
How Betty impacted my life can be measured by the huge crater that has been left by her absence.
Betty was the sister I didn't have. She was there for me in good times and bad times. But the bad times didn't seem so bad after I talked to her.
Betty, thank you for being part of my life. We all miss you.
Every child in this district, every administrator, teacher, parent has been blessed by having Betty in their lives. I will truly miss her. I think of her every day, and I will truly never forget her.
It is not fair to make me speak after that. I just reminded myself, beyond the message of what was there, to just mention Marty Kale. You know, there are thousands of your graduates from Hollywood to New York in film and television, and you're pretty amazing. Thank you for that. When Laura Lapp came down, she said, "You know what? I'm thinking of running again with a write-in candidate, as a write-in candidate." Mark Robinson just grabbed his heart. Did you see that? Oh, we can't, Mark. Her Mark will kill her. That's not happening. And you know, Governor, one thing that didn't, and County Executive, did you see that she's a Raiders fan? Doesn't that explain everything? That, you know, she's just not wrapped too tight. And I know Pat Siebold as well, who was acknowledged before, but as you know, she's one of us, or one of you, having been in our system for 30 years herself, and now serving as our freeholder. You know, two quick thoughts, trying to watch what everybody's saying. I'm trying to just pick up on a few things that haven't been. And another aspect of Miss Matt's life, when you talk to friends that know her, said she really, and whether it was her sense of humor, the nature of who she was, she would always disarm conflict. When there were two people or a group of people at each other, she was the one that, with a smile, kept it from escalating. And being in a religious hall today, I just think of the Beatitude, blessed are the peacemakers. And that truly bespoke who Betty was. I'd like to now call upon Connie Salambino, and Connie came to the district as a learning disabilities teaching consultant, really, and probably knew Mad for the shortest period of time, for about 5 years. Now, shortly after Betty became the director of special services, the supervisor pre-K position became available, and that helped her get that role. And then when she was struggling, as she was through her illness, Connie really was a key communicator, really working with her. And I don't mean to be sad about this, but up to the end. I think Connie, if it's right, 6:15 in the morning of her passing, she was going back and forth with you to give direction and deal with what her passion was, and her children and their education. So with no further ado, please let's call upon the principal of the Maddalena, Connie Salambino.
Good evening. As I stand before you, I am overwhelmed with the emotion this evening. As you have heard throughout the night, Betty Maddalena was not only a truly outstanding educator, but a friend, a loved one, and an adored family member. Words on a page cannot possibly do her justice, as Betty Maddalena was one of those rare individuals who was larger than life. When I was pondering which moments of my personal and professional relationship with Betty would be most meaningful to share with you, I had an overpowering sense of emotion. Although not a day goes by that I do not think of her, and often have conversations with her, the memories came flooding back. So this was indeed a challenge. That being said, I thought it would be appropriate to begin by sharing that I would not be standing before you today if it was not for Betty Maddalena. Her passion as an educator and as an advocate for students became a guiding light in my career. However, it was her friendship that eventually became the catalyst in determining my future in education. I share my story with you as I am merely one example of all the lives indelibly impacted by knowing Betty Maddalena. As Assemblyman McKeon shared, Betty and I met many, many years ago when I first entered the halls of West Orange High School as a learning consultant. As a mid-year transfer to the building, Betty was the first person I met. She had a way of making everyone feel like they were the most important person in the world. She took me under her wing and introduced me to an amazing group of educators and colleagues, some of which became dear friends. Fortunately, from that day on, Betty and I became close and her guidance became important to me. That meant that Betty was free to determine which course she felt would be best for anyone to take in life. Now this was mine. And if you knew Betty, she was persistent to say the least. To be more accurate, Betty Maddalena was a force to be reckoned with when she made up her mind. But your best interests were always in her heart, and she was always right. Betty decided that my path was to be in administration. So the first thing I did was obtain my supervisor's certificate. Proud as she was that I took that first step, that was not enough. Therefore, back to school I went for the remainder of my administrative certificates with her support and insistence. See, Betty had also had a plan for herself.
Betty was going to be the superintendent of schools in West Orange, the district that she had dedicated her life and career to. In 2009, Betty took a step there when she became the Director of Special Services. When Dr. Valera, the then Supervisor of Special Education, became the principal of what was then Pleasantdale Elementary School, I applied and obtained the position as Supervisor of Special Education. Betty's plan then expanded. She would be the superintendent, and I would follow her as the Director of Special Services. But those plans were never realized. Unfortunately, Betty's cancer returned soon after I arrived at central office. We worked side by side until the day she left us. Betty and I spoke constantly. She was dedicated to the position. I was with her in her office when she learned that she would not be a candidate for the clinical trials. Devastated as she was, her indomitable spirit never failed. She never forgot her duties to the children of this district. On Christmas Eve in 2010, my mother and I paid Betty a visit in her home. And that's a day neither one of us will ever forget. Betty told us she felt that would be her last Christmas, even though she would not stop fighting that terrible disease. Even with that heart-wrenching admission, Betty didn't miss a beat. She then informed me that when she was no longer with us, that she would always be watching me to make sure I did the right thing, and that she would be the best Director of Special Services that she could be until that time came. We promised to work on that together, and I never forgot her words. In July 2011, when I reluctantly moved into what I considered to be her office, I found these, and Betty's words came rushing back to me. From that time, they have hung on a picture of her in my office. It is my deep honor to be the head of the Betty Maddalena Early Learning Center, and I am profoundly grateful for this opportunity. Each day, I come to her hoping to continue her advocacy, knowing she is watching my every move, but also knowing she is watching each and every child in our care. Thank you for allowing me this opportunity, and let's all strive to be Betty.
Connie, thanks so much. You know, there's one figure that I see that wasn't, if he was acknowledged, I missed it, but former principal of West Orange High School, Art Algimento, is here. And Art, I think of you relative to when my daughter got a B, and I said, you know, you got to fight, you got to get an A. So she went to her teacher and said, hey, I don't get B's, I get A's. And then the teacher came to Art and said, the mayor's daughter is threatening me. It was an awkward call. But you'd be so proud of all the great things that have happened at the high school, and I know Hayden Moore is here, and you'd be super proud of him and the wonderful job he's doing. So, Connie, I was listening carefully. I said there were a few thoughts I thought needed to be expressed I didn't necessarily hear, but the one that you picked up on, I'm going to repeat anyway. And that is that Betty, when it came down to it, had a penchant to make everybody feel special. And what a wonderful way for all of us to try to live our lives to do the same, whether it's our family, co-workers, and just people around us. So with that, on behalf of the West Orange Board of Education, on behalf of Betty's family, let's all go out and be a Betty. Thank you very much.